it's Jodi Schafer and my friend Cliff Hammond. If you've been joining us for HR Hot Topics, you may remember Cliff from a February segment where we talked about harassment. But I asked Cliff back again today, one, because he's so amazing on camera and so engaging, but two, because we were having a really interesting conversation about attracting talent, which is another question that I get a lot and help many of you with on the recruiting side. And really, it was a talk about where recruiting is going and specifically with your intake process and the application, the length of time. So I thought it was worth sharing with the group. I think it's some good nuggets of information. And as you start looking at your own processes, maybe some things to keep in mind. So
yeah, I mean, thanks. I think one of the things that a lot of employers forget sometimes is their audience is changing, obviously. We always talk about millennials, and that's the big growing workforce. But they really... if you look at what's going on now, they want to be able to get onto a phone, an iPad, and they want to, within 90 seconds, be able to upload their resume and apply for a job. And if you have to take longer than that, they're moving on. So some of the top talent is looking at opportunities to just get a job.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is I know millennial has been kind of the go-to generation or category that we use when we refer to the young folks today, right, coming out of college. But did you know that the oldest millennial is turning 40.
Sure.
Like, I am on the cusp, so I'm on the edge of Generation X. And I associate more with Gen X, I think mostly because I was raised in a small town, rural, just behind the times in a lot of ways. So I kind of fall back into that category. But the oldest millennial is going to turn 40. So it's not yet, yes, it's an important group. It's a large group. They're almost as large as the baby boomer generation, which makes sense because a lot of the parents of the millennial kids, right, are baby boomers. So there's a lot of baby boomers, there's a lot of millennials. Makes sense. But that's not even the group anymore. I mean, yes, we want to attract them, but it's this next group that's coming out that we don't even have a great name for yet. Depending on the research, it's different names. It's, Generation Edge, and there's some funky names out there. But to your point, ease of access, right? These are folks that have grown up with everything at your fingertips. They don't have to look at a TV guide and figure out when their favorite show is going to be on and then wait for Wednesday night at 8 o'clock to watch the show. You can just go on Netflix or Hulu and stream the whole season right there. And really, almost every aspect of life has gone to that, not just our viewing habits. Oh,
yeah, and I think technology has changed so much now that expectations have changed. So you hear and you read a lot of studies about how employees change jobs. But the key here for an employer to keep and retain and to attract talent, you've got to have somebody get through the portal, right? So we know that people want to be able to use online opportunities to apply for jobs.
Right.
If you don't have a technology, if you don't have a resources that can get those people that are the best qualified people in the door in a quick, efficient manner, and be able to do your due diligence too, you're going to lose out on top talent. And not only that, you're just going to be left with marginal talent. You're going to be fighting for whoever's left that will go through the hoops because they don't have any other choice.
Now, you said 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So tell me, if I'm an employer and I'm looking at revamping my intake process, what tools are available to help me take my paper and pencil application and convert it to a 90-second
Well, there's more
exercise.
Than one. I mean, there's lots of technology that allow you to populate certain sources from a resume. So if your applicant has a resume that's electronic and you put it in, there are already tools available that will go ahead and populate the name, the address.
So they scrape that information from the resume and dump it into whatever applicant tracking software system maybe you're using.
And so it's efficient for you, too. I mean, quite frankly, you don't have to go through so much work anymore. You can have the technology do the work for you. And what you can do is, from that technology, maybe you can also use that to wean out people that aren't qualified. You look at the qualifications, you look at, whether or not they have the education qualities that you want, and you can immediately take the person out and you can wean down who is and isn't qualified for your job. So it's a technology issue. It's exponentially different today than it probably will be in 3 years. In 3 years, maybe everybody who's going to use this type of technology, if you get stuck behind everybody else, you're going to be, if you have an hour-long process or a paper application or one you have to actually type into a computer, you may lose people who just say, why would I do that? I have already created my application. Why am I doing it twice? Which is what some kids and some 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds might say.
Absolutely.
Why would I do this?
Yeah. And I think too, it's not that you necessarily have to purchase an applicant tracking software system. There are open source or free systems like that if you have an IT department, you could look at incorporating. But there are some national job boards that already have these features built in. So today in 2019, as we're filming this, Indeed is one of the main ones, and it has those screening questions, and it already makes it easy. So this isn't something you have to make a big investment in necessarily, but this idea of how do I make my job visible, easy to apply for, and how do I use filtering tools so that amongst the other 5 things I'm responsible for, I can get this done efficiently, because the other piece of it is the timeliness of your response back. So if I apply to something and it's really easy to apply, but I don't hear back from that company for a week or 2 weeks, I have forgotten what job I even applied for. So keep these things in mind as you're working through. I know engaging talent and attracting talent are always going to be key issues. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that. And Cliff, if you wouldn't mind again, just for our audience, letting our folks know how to find you.
Yeah, the easiest way to contact me is by email at chammond@fosterswift.com.
Now, and Cliff is an employment law attorney, so if his name sounds familiar or his voice, you may have been referred to him by me in the past. So thanks a lot, Cliff, and we'll see you guys next month.